All right, guys, we are live and ready to roll. I'm excited. Thank you so much for being on, guys. I know it's Friday evening and everyone's like, yeah, y'all will probably have plans. I'm pregnant. I don't have plans. But I know a lot of you probably do. Thank you so much for being on. We are going to have, this is our last scheduled day. But if y'all have been checking the messages and checking the emails and everything, you know that I kind of spur of the moment decided to do something a little bit extra. Had so much great feedback in the group, in the Profitable Passion Summit group, as well as people messaging me and emailing me back and saying that this has been really great for them. And y'all really don't realize maybe sometimes how much that means to us. It really and truthfully does. And it just makes you want to give more. So that's why after this first section here, we're going to have a free giveaway. So everyone who is live, you're going to get one of my courses that is valued at $1,500, but I usually sell it for $497, and you're going to get that 100% free. So the end of this, I'll have you drop your names and I'll record them and everything, and then I'll be able to get that to you. So that'll be super fun. The chat does not say your name from what I can see right here. Whenever I go into the actual group, I can see it. So that's why I'll have you drop your name. So we are going to get started. It looks like we're live because we have a handful of people on. Like I said, I know it's Friday. So we are hopefully going to also just try to be very brief to the point and get y'all through this. We did have an incident come up, two actually. One, my entire area is out. Like the internet is out is what I meant. So I am streaming from my hotspot. I don't know how great the service is going to be from that. So I do apologize if it's not perfect. There's an outage all over. I live very rural and it's just what happens. So, but you roll with it. Life happens. The second thing that happened is we were going to have on Sarah Michelle today, and she is incredible. A lot of people in this group already know her and they know how giving she is and how sweet she is. She had something legitimate come up. She wanted everyone to know that she really and truthfully wanted to be here so much. She's fine, don't worry, but she had something legitimate come up and we are going to reschedule. So that means that you are going to get an extra bonus to this. Everyone, I'll send it out to everybody. She and I are going to record and we may do it in a podcast form or something like that. I'm not sure exactly. We haven't worked it out, but you will be getting information from her as well. And I'm super excited about that because she's incredible and we'll all learn a lot from that. So in two different ways, this doesn't have to end. One, tomorrow I was already doing this and it was totally separate from the summit, but so many of the conversations that people have been having with me have overlapped with it. Then I'm like, okay, Saturday, I'm going to dive in deep on two things. And let me make sure that I'm getting my trainings and everything straight. I'm not getting things mixed up. So let me go ahead and just double check myself here. Tomorrow, I'm going to be talking on one, how to build a passive lead generation system. So a system that actually brings people to you. Lead generation tends to be one of the hardest things for people in building a business. The whole saying that build it and they will come isn't 100% true. It's a beautiful saying and it's totally inspirational and that's fantastic, but it really doesn't actually work that way. You do have to build up a business that is legitimate and that speaks to people and that converts. And I'm going to be talking about that tomorrow, 11 a.m. So if you're wanting it on that, message me, make sure, just get a hold of me somehow. I don't have a link to drop on it for right now. It was just kind of an impromptu thing that I decided to open up for everybody. But if you message in the group that, hey, I want in, tell me your name, your email, and I will send you the link for it tomorrow. There are limited seats. Everybody here tonight, though, is guaranteed a spot if you want one. So 11 a.m. Central, we're going to be doing this. And I'm going to be talking to you about market research, the right and the wrong way to do it, because there is a right way and a wrong way to do that. I did it the wrong way for a long time, spun my wheels. It felt very frustrating. I published my face off. I don't know if any of you have, I've shared my story that I was MLM before. Published my face off. I was told that every single day you have to post and you have to keep on every day showing up in your stories and your posts and all of that. And I did. and it was just absolutely burned you out. So whenever you build an actual lead generation machine or system, it actually builds stronger the more you put it together. So I'm going to show you that also. So that will be the other part of that, is how to build the evergreen systems. Then how they can convert, so you don't have to sell to people. That's why I like passive income. That's why I like to build. Well, of course, everyone likes passive income. That's why I like to do course creation, because it can simply be passive income. Once you get something that's converting, you don't have to be messaging or selling or anything like that. I'm not comfortable selling. It doesn't make me, I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with sales. Not at all. I know there's nothing wrong with it, but it doesn't make me feel comfortable. I just don't really like it. So I like for my sales pages to do it for me, and I like for things to convert that way, because then I don't have to be the one doing it. Back whenever I was doing MLM, I hated always having to answer tons of messages to people and keep up with that, and always I feel like I was always looking at my phone, like messaging people back, and worrying if I was saying the right thing or not saying the right thing. And it's just so much different whenever you build up those systems. So I'll be talking about that some today, because I'm going to be the expert speaker today, because Sarah is not with us today, which is totally fine. And we're going to make up for that as well. But tonight I want to talk to you about, I'm going to give you my story, my background. I haven't really given that to you yet. We're going to talk about course creation. We're going to talk about, I think we might dive into value letters. I think that might be kind of fun. It's something that a lot of people don't, and it may be a little bit high end for someone who's just starting, but it can give you an idea of how you can structure your business. I am very much, I forget which personality type that is, but I'm very much the type that I want to kind of get to the point, and I want tangible things. And that's kind of how I am. So that's probably how this is going to go until we start talking to Dr. Jones after me. And then we're going to be talking about med spas afterwards. Okay, guys. And then how I went from, like I said, the MLM stuff to actually nurturing people and building up systems that allow you to be able to nurture people, because that's a great thing. Obviously, as we go through this, guys, if you have any questions, let me know. Okay, good. You can hear. Fantastic. I should have double checked that. Thank you for letting me know. Me, Jennifer. Okay. As I see names, I'm going to write them down here. Okay, so I'll be doing it at the same time. I don't have anyone with me. I don't have like a VA or anyone with me. So I'm just going to be pausing for a second here and there. Okay. Or I could be doing screenshots too. And then, yeah, I know Sarah Michelle is awesome. And then, yes, 11 a.m. Central. Awesome. Someone says, I want your Saturday course. Fantastic. Just not noon Central time. It's going to be, someone put noon Central. It's 11 Central. So 11 to 12. It'll just be an hour long. Someone said yes, but I got to know your name. It just says Facebook user on my end. So 100% me, but you have to write your name down. And then Savita, I believe I already have you in. I believe so. I believe we were talking earlier, and I'm pretty sure that some of y'all are. That's why I just decided to go and open up for everyone. So looking forward to tomorrow. Yay! I'm excited to share with y'all. I really am. Let me drop this. Okay. All right, guys. So you just have to, if I didn't just say your name, you'll have to drop your name. And I do see names dropping down as we go. And I'm going to share with you. Alicia, I see you. Jacqueline King, I see you. And y'all can also send me a personal message too. And that'll be good for that. Okay, so my story and my background. Where do I begin? So like I said, this is very impromptu. I didn't expect to really be speaking today, but I can talk forever about this kind of stuff. So we're good. My story, I would say my story really began whenever it comes with entrepreneurship. I was in my DNP, and I had really felt like I was just arriving in the world, like not trying to sound conceited, but I was proud of myself. I was an ICU nurse. I was very proud of that job. And I was in my DNP. I felt like I am going to be like, I'm so mature these days. I can't believe it. And I've done so much. And I was proud of myself. And I remember I was pulling up to the ICU at my swanky little Cadillac coupe, because that was before I had the business mindset. And I thought, man, my income isn't even like there yet. So I need to start being really, I really need to start switching things up. And I'm going to quit listening to so much music. I'm start listening to Audible. I've heard some people say they listen to audiobooks, and I really feel like I'd become. So I was like, I'm going to listen to that Rich Dad, Poor Dad guy and Robert Kiyosaki. if you're not familiar with that, you do need to read that book. And I thought, he's going to tell me that I'm the rich dad, and I'm just proud of myself. Like, this sounds so conceited. I almost hate sharing the story because it sounds so conceited. But, and I promise you guys, I've not, like, I'm not, but, and I just, when he started talking and I realized, like, a ton of bricks just hit me that I was not even close to rich dad. That his poor dad was actually just like me. School loan debt, always going to be trading my time for money, and that was that. And I thought, that's not really okay with me. Like, I don't want to be tied to a capped income. I don't want to be trading my time for money. If there's freedom out there, like, why not me? I want that as well. So that book really got me started on thinking. I was in my DNP, so I was focused on that. But it really got me thinking, how can I start building passive income? He was talking about writing books, those kind of things. I did write a book. It took me a while because I didn't know how to do it the efficient way, which I teach that to some of my people now. And it wouldn't have taken me 4 years to write that book had I known those systems yet. But now I'm a time hack warrior. That was before that. And I decided at that time that I was going to change things. And I've already shared on the summit, but that's whenever we decided to start investing some investing in property, in that I decided we're going to go to a smaller house. We're going to cut the mortgage in half. My income's going to go up. And then that extra money, we're going to start investing and building. And what I've been investing in is my business and learning and understanding how to do that, because I thought about doing investing in stocks for a while. And I read Tony Robbins' book, completely devoured it, all of the notes, everything. And a lot of what it was taught is that you're not necessarily going to beat the market past like an 8%. And it kind of really got me stuck personally. I'm not the person to talk to on this, but it got me a little stuck. I thought I wanted to do the stock market. And it got me a little bit stuck that even the people who are really good at it and they do it day in, day out, and they're constantly doing trading, not investing. I invest, but I don't trade. They still rarely beat the market at like 8%. And I thought, well, 8% is not really that great of a return. I kind of want more than that. Like, because whenever you think about investing like $1,000 and then 8% of that, I thought, that isn't necessarily what I want to do. I kind of want to build this a little bit faster. So that isn't the route I went, but we did cut down our mortgage. I started investing into my business. And it was funny because I even had to write a letter to the bank promising them I wasn't going through bankruptcy because apparently that's how rare it is for people to go from a bigger mortgage to a smaller mortgage without being forced into that. And I was like, I was surprised. Like, it almost stopped everything because I thought that I was going through a bankruptcy and that they were like, well, we're not going to loan to you if you're going through. I'm like, I'm not. Like, I'm totally fine. I'm doing this on purpose because I want to have that extra income. And I also lived that whole life. I told you I didn't have the entrepreneurial mindset where it was tight, and we had an adorable, beautiful house, and I had that Cadillac coupe, and it was nice. It was fun. I had all of the gym memberships, and I spent $400 or $500 a week on fancy groceries, going to the fancy grocery stores, and money was tight, and it was hard to find mortgage, and I never wanted to go back to that again. So there was kind of twofold why I did that. So that's my story of getting into entrepreneurship. Okay. And then fast forward, I tried to write a book and that didn't work out super well. So then I entered into the world of MLM. And I loved, just like anybody who's ever been in that situation, you're sold on the product, you love it, you really do love the team and the community and everything. But it got to a point where it was too hard. I feel like I was constantly spinning my wheels. I felt like I would spend all this time training people and they would quit and they weren't actually like as invested and building up. And I had to rely on other people to do really good at it in order for my business to grow. And I didn't like that. That to me, that felt insecure because I want it to be based upon my efforts and I want it to be based upon something more substantial that had, like, now I look at conversions and I look at what's working, what's not, changing, the copy here, changing something, getting those conversions better. what's actually growing my email list. I can focus on tangibles and actionables, not just busy. Oh, I sent out this many invites, and I did this many things, and I posted that, and I did, and it just wasn't tangibles that was bringing in a bottom line. So it's kind of getting burnt on that. And then let's fast forward some. COVID hit. COVID was about to hit, and I was already really stressed out in the clinic. It was before I became a time hack warrior. And I was working 60 hours in the office because seeing patients, my internet system, right, was super slow, very bad. And I was literally charting an extra 20 hours a week. And I was burned out. I was bitter. And then I saw the pandemic coming. We're in rural areas, so I saw everything kind of impacting people before it hit us. And my husband and I were also in a very, very hard time in our personal lives. And we decided that we really need to focus on us. But unfortunately, I was so busy that I couldn't. So one thing that I had to do was squash that MLM that I was doing because it was kind of sucking the life out of me anyhow. That's a little bit transparent, but it was. And I just couldn't. I didn't have time for that. I knew I needed something. I needed to get back to building something that was actually evergreen and actually residual. And the more I was successful in that, the more work it took. And I didn't expect that to happen. I didn't feel like it at first, but the more I did, and I felt bad recruiting people into it because that's what happened. So I couldn't anymore because I started seeing things that I didn't realize at first. Anyhow, we're having a hard time in our life. So my husband and I decide we are going to go on a vacation together. Probably shouldn't have. I knew COVID was coming, but we did. And I remember we were coming back and I was so stressed that I literally had just tears coming out of my face. I wasn't bawling or anything like that. We were going back from the vacation, coming back here, and I was under so much pressure that tears are just coming down my face. And there's this little girl looking at me we were on the shuttle bus going from the resort to the hotel, to the airport. And she had red pigtails, adorable little girl. She had 2 pigtails down her front of her shirt. And she was like nudging her mom and like pointing at me. She's like, "Mom, the lady's crying, the lady's crying." And I just, started looking out the window and the mom's embarrassed. She's like, "Don't, like, just leave her alone, babe. It's okay. Don't quit saying stuff, And I was just crying. Like I wasn't bawling hysterically. There was just literally so much pressure behind me that tears were just coming out because I knew I was walking into, I was already working way too much. And I saw what everyone else was going through and I was terrified of that getting worse. So instead of, after I had my moments of, pity me, poor me, I'm already stressed out, how am I going to handle this? I decided instead of to decompose, I decided to compress and I got more efficient. And I started figuring out how to do things a lot more efficiently. And in doing that, I was able to completely turn things around in my office. I was able to completely turn around my mindset. I was able to start thinking clearer. I learned how to read faster. I learned how to type faster. I learned how to use the computers faster. So whenever I had internet pauses, I knew like every second that I had, I was really quick at it. Long story short on that, it ended up changing my life. And I ended up seeing like so many others who were going through that. And they needed that help too. So I started sharing it with them. And then it started changing their lives. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm kind of onto something, right? And within my first launch of actually sharing that with people, I always hate sharing numbers, but I will. I made $2,500. Like the first time I turned it into an actual course, I made $2,500 my first, like before I even had it really like all put together. Like I knew it. And I knew that it worked and I've been teaching it to people, but I hadn't put it in a course yet. The first time I did that, before I even like completely had it all done, I did what's called a beta launch. So we've talked about that before. A beta launch is where you're building out the course with the people. And I really recommend doing that because you get really great feedback from others and you can build it specifically how it speaks to them and that it can change their life. I really believe that's a big reason why I think it was the second month. I don't remember. Like I said, I wasn't preparing to talk. I believe it was the second month that Fox News reached out to one of the local Fox News put me on, like they put me as one of their top 25 is 2021 entrepreneurs. And because I was making all these changes for healthcare providers, and it was so rewarding and amazing, and it just flowed and it felt natural, and I wasn't, like I wasn't hustling for it. Like it was literally working out well. My family, our family was back together and feeling great, and it was cohesive, and the energy just flowed beautifully. And like I said, before I even actually had the course, I had it sold and I made $2,500 without even doing anything. And it took me a long time to reach something like that in my MLM business. Like I was doing that for like a year and a half. So, I mean, I was just like kind of mind blown and super excited about it. So I know some people will say, well, that's not very much money. But for me, in what it was, and that it only took me a few weeks to build that out and to make that happen. And then I scaled it to the 10K within the next 3 months. I mean, to me, like that was incredible, right? Like that was a game changer for my life. And anyhow, I'm going to quit talking about myself. I'm going to give you some tangibles too, though. So that's where I was like, course creation is where it's at. I'm changing lives. I'm getting feedback that is, that people are getting results. Like the first time I got a message from somebody saying that, hey, I was home 5 p.m. for the first time ever. I was like, yes. That means I'm changing not only that person's life, but I'm also changing her children's life. And I'm changing. So course creation, like we were saying before, can be really powerful in that way. Okay, so that's why I really believe in that. And that's what I do specifically. And it helps so many other people. Now, I like to adopt a value ladder system. And a value ladder system is where you have kind of usually an entry level for somebody. And that's kind of like a lower ticket, or actually, let me back up. You want to have a opt-in first. So free opt-in. It's what most of us started doing, is what most of us shared. You need a free opt-in. An opt-in page is usually pretty simple. It's just like a landing page. You can build that on Kajabi. You could build that in ClickFunnels. Those are the two systems that I use. There's Samcart. There's tons of other ones. And it's just something that people get a freebie for. Oh, which reminds me, I also wanted to share with y'all a freebie tonight as well, that you don't have to opt in for or anything like that. I just wanted to give it to you. I'm going to drop it in the chat. On if you are like, okay, this sounds great. Like I want to build a course also, but I have no idea where to start. I have a list for you all. That is my freebie opt-in. So you could do, self-improvement, industry, confidence improvement. In medicine, since we have a lot of nurses and practitioners here, continuing education courses. That was one of the first things that I did. A lot of my people do that as well. That is really fantastic, because many people have already an allowance every year that they get from their employers, and they can invest, like they have to either spend it or lose it. So CME courses can be really great because it's a little bit lower resistance on sales, because people have to invest in something. So if you position that very well, and you position your course in a way that the provider sees the importance in it, and then it's going to help them decrease risk of malpractice, or it's going to help them in some monumental way, they're pretty easy to get. I don't want to say easy, because that's a relative word, but they're definitely something that can be scaled really, really efficiently. Let's say that. Continuing education courses, how to talk to, if you're looking at it from like a patient perspective, how to talk to providers and feel confident, and how to be able to communicate better. If it's, to nurses, speaking to providers, the other way around, communication is huge. And especially as providers, we get scaled on that. We get graded on that. And so if you're really good at communication, if you're really good at patient scores, whatever it is, like you could monetize that. How to prioritize nursing tasks. If you're somebody who is a nurse practitioner or a nurse, helping them, especially like a new nurse, kind of get their feet wet, get them going, give them that support. Nurse practitioners could do the same thing. Pharmacists could do that. I know we have tons of people in different realms here. So anything that you're in. So anyhow, I won't go through this entire list because there's tons of them, but parenting, helping, especially if somebody's in that short time frame where they're only going to get their kiddo for that time, like whenever they're a baby or whenever they are teenagers, and you're wanting to make sure that parents have a good relationship, because that's something a lot of us, we want to make sure more than anything in our life that we have a good relationship with our child. And if I can invest in that and make sure that it happens, especially if I'm already at a place where things are difficult, people invest in that. If you're somebody who's really organized, teaching people how to be organized, teaching people how to have a Pinterest-worthy home on a flea market dime budget, something like that. If you're really good at being thrifty, if you're really good at repurposing stuff, there's tons of things that you can put on. I'm not going to spend a whole bunch of time on that because I'm going to do the share and I'm going to open it up for anybody. Everyone who's on here. So it's another bonus y'all get for being on here with me, especially it being so impromptu. Let's see, since everything changed up. So anyone on the internet with this link can view. Anybody. So it's y'all's, okay? It's y'all's. And then I will drop it in the chat for you. Let me see here. Where do I put it? This is the first time I've dropped in this summit the whole time. There that is. Okay, so y'all should be able to get that and see that. And that can help you kind of get some ideas going if you're like, I don't know what to monetize necessarily. Like, I don't know what I could do. There's literally a large array of things. And guys, I'm going to tell you right now that positioning is just a huge part of that. And all I mean by positioning is that you allow people to see what they're missing out on if they don't invest in that, and bringing that kind of forward for them. Sorry. But bringing that forward and positioning it, you can position anything. You really truthfully can. You can show the value in that. So going forward with that, you have something that gives them a tangible, something that they can actually use and make a change with their life as a freebie, as your freebie opt-in, right? So if you're taking notes, you could do just kind of like a ladder. So in my notes, and here's my son. I love that I get cute little notes in that from my son all the time. So I'm not going to draw on that page. But it's so funny because before being a mom, I wanted everything to be like completely perfect and clean and stuff like that. And now when I see these little notes in my notepad that are off, I'm like, oh, it's like the best thing ever. But you could write out just a little value ladder, just like this if you're taking notes. Okay, so just going straight up. And the first thing is going to be your freebie opt-in. Make sure it's something that can be tangible and people can actually use and get a benefit from. A really great way to do a freebie opt-in is if they can actually get like a short win right now. That's super awesome. If they can get some kind of breakthrough or aha moment, if they can, I've done one time, get your first $100 made this week, because that's kind of a big, even though making $100 that week is not that much, is not that big of a deal. Switching from being somebody who is employee based to you generated your first $100 on your own is such a awesome mindset shift for people, and to just see that come in is really awesome. So something like that, I've done that before, where it's, quick cash for, I think it was for Christmas is what I did it for. And I showed people how to make $100 super fast, and it was simple, but it was a really great short win for everybody. And then from your freebie, you can have something that is usually $47. People always want to know about pricing. It definitely depends on value, quality, what you're actually, the result that you're getting those people, and the value with it. So I do not subscribe to the belief system. I've heard people say this a lot. I do not believe it. That, oh, if you don't have a high ticket because you haven't raised your prices yet, or if you want to be more expensive, just charge more. No, it has to be positioned right, and it has to actually get people value and results. Otherwise, you're not going to be in business for very long. Like, word is going to get around. So I don't subscribe to that. If you've heard that before or you've said it before, I'm sorry, I don't believe that. But usually your next tier is going to be somewhere around like a $27 to a $97 entry. And that could be a small course as short as 5 days. So the courses are really great. 5-day course, kind of like what I did here, but we did this one 100% free. And then, so, 5-day course to a 21-day course, it could be something where you're teaching them something tangible in their business, or teaching them something tangible in It doesn't have to be a, a live course or anything like that, to where they're kind of getting some kind of win, but it is a little bit less in depth. Your next tier is going to be kind of your, what we call a core offer, or what it is that kind of is your bread and butter. And that's usually around a $9.97. $9.97, you can still put that on Evergreen, and you don't usually have to have like one-on-one calls or, anything like that to get people to convert for them. And that's usually a little bit more in depth, but it is also something that is more like you give the information and then they do it on their own. I will tell you that my kind of core, I do still have group coaching in it. Most people, I don't know that you necessarily have to, and a lot of people don't at that low of a ticket, and I don't blame them for that, because whenever you divide out your time, it's not very much. I just really like doing the group coaching, so I've still kept mine. But it might end up, most people will switch that to maybe have like a live Q&A and something like that. So you can have like a $9.97. So if you're taking out kind of, look at horrible handwriting. I'm sorry. This says freebie. This says, 27 to 97. And it's usually 5-day to 7-day courses are really great for that. Those are just ideas. It doesn't have to be that. You're $9.97. So this is something that $9.97 to anywhere to, $1,500, somewhere in there. And that could be courses for how much, 6 weeks to 6 months. I wouldn't do too much more than that for that. And then you can have like the trainings and they're more online. Usually that's more, I give you the information, but I'm not coaching you. I'm not giving you any one-on-one. Like I said, I do still have my coaching online because I enjoy doing that. And I enjoy, it's the control freak. If I can be more one-on-one with you, I can get you better results. So sometimes do as I say, not as I do. But that's usually just, you just get the courses and you don't get me necessarily, except for maybe like at the beginning or at the end or something like that as bonuses or something. And then your high ticket can be anywhere from, usually high ticket kind of starts at the 5K, but 5K up to 20K, or I mean, I literally have people who know people who are, they're 100K courses. So there's really not a high end on that. Whenever I first heard that, my mind was kind of blown, and I thought there's no way that people spend $100,000 on that. And I will tell you, one of my breakthrough moments in that was whenever I went to, when Dr. Christine and I were in Miami, and I was watching people do 100K transactions, and I was like, okay, well, I'll be darned. That does just happen all the time. So to me, that's kind of mind blowing. And you can, and that's more of a done for you course most often. So that's more of having an agency where you're doing the things for them. And agency work is a lot of work, especially if you're still working full time. So we have a few minutes left. I'm going to check this and see. Yes, check. Alrighty. If there is anything else to the list, I don't see the link to the list. Okay. I will add the link to the list. I added it to the group. But if we don't see it there, I'll make sure it's on the video after we're done. So if you're watching it now, I'll add that freebie in there for y'all, to the mind jog for you. So the important parts of having a value ladder. So maybe you already know a lot about value ladders. That's not a super in-depth thing. It's really not. But they should all speak to each other. So I will have people that come in sometimes in the middle of my value ladder, and they may go down, or they may go down and do the lower end one. They may come up to the top. There are tons of different people. They all speak to each other. What's important to know is that it isn't like one just completely encompasses all of them. So then they feel like, well, but I just bought, if they bought the lower one and they're like, well, but I want the higher one. Like, I don't have everything that I need. Like, it should still fulfill, every single one of them should fulfill a goal for those people. And it shouldn't be where the high-end one just engulfs it to where it doesn't even make sense. If they bought the lower and then they go up, they feel like they're kind of cheated because they're like, well, but I already spent this money, but I want the bigger one. So they should correlate and they should speak to each other. and they should fix kind of not different problems, but different aspects of your overall goal. And they should all speak to that goal of whatever it is that they're doing. So it should be the same goal of financial income, life coaching, whatever it is that you're within your specific niches in that area. So let me know if that makes sense, guys. And if y'all have any questions, let me know. Don't say, yeah, I see that. So I will definitely, I'll put it down on the bottom. Okay, I'm going to double check really fast and make sure that Dr. Kiana is here. Let me look right here. She should be getting logged on if she isn't. But all right, so we have that. What else did I want to talk to y'all about, or what questions do you have? Is that helpful? Let me know if the value ladder, if that kind of stuff is helpful. Now, the other part of the value ladder that I love is that you nurture people the entire way. Whereas, let me oppose that to what I have what I have background in. Whenever I was in MLM, my favorite part of that was being with my girls and teaching them how to be healthy and helping them with mindset shifts. And I loved that part of it. I loved it. But I didn't really get a return on investment, which I didn't care at all at first, until the business itself took up so much time that it was like, but the other stuff doesn't make sense. Like, I feel like mom's just spending all this time doing this real, in-depth hobby, and it's not pulling back to the family in any way. And I had this real bad, I felt like, who deserves, obviously my child deserves my time. My husband and my child deserve my time the most, right? So this sounds bad. It's not that, I mean, literally my heart was in helping those women change their lives, but it was so much time, and it was so hard that you can't help but be like, I'm already working full time and I'm doing this. So the beautiful thing about this is that whenever you set up your value ladder correct, you are nurturing people all of the way. You're actually helping them through the entire way, but you're getting paid the entire way. So it's not like you are having to choose one for the other. And they should always solve the next problem that somebody has. So then it naturally ascends them. And that's another part of how you don't have to sell to people. And for instance, they say like new level, new devil type of stuff. So that's what it should be, is it should open up that, you solve that problem for them. But now in order to kind of take them to that next level, they have to have that next program makes logical sense, and they should all speak to each other. So I hope that kind of makes sense on that. I'm gonna go back to the chat. Helpful, awesome, good. Practical and helpful. You are so very welcome. Good, because just like we were speaking about, was it Amanda? I can't remember who it was that we were speaking with, and we were saying how sometimes whenever you've learned so much, you forget kind of what is new to somebody versus what is, too high end or something like that. So tomorrow we're really going to be diving in more on lead generation, how you do that, and if you're wanting to be on the Saturday group. And I am going to mute myself for 1 second because Dr. Jones sent me a message. So I'm going to listen to that just 1 second, guys. It's 13 seconds long. Hold on. All righty. Technical difficulties as always. Love that. Driving the next level problem and create the next problem. Yeah. And you're not necessarily creating problems for anybody, but whenever you solve one problem, it's going to open you up to having to fix another. So let's say if I help somebody with lead generation and then they get and conversions and they get tons of people into their program. Well, what happens if you get too many people in your program and you have to start declining people? That's not okay. Or you get overwhelmed and you're not able to fulfill your promises to your people. That's a next level, right? So I guess I kind of did create the problem for them. If you want to look at it that way, you kind of did, but it's not, and I don't think whoever said that meant it that way. But just to clarify on that, you open up something else for them. So then you need to have a system, just like in my Passion to Profit, I have a system for people on what do you do in that situation? How do you work smarter? How do you get through stuff, and be able to hire out efficiently? How are you able to build systems that do the work for you? That's why I use ClickFunnels, because it makes all of those systems work for you. How do you, instead of having to hand put everyone into a group, how do you know how to automate that where the people go automatically in there? You don't have to do anything. You don't have to send out the email to them. How do you integrate your active campaign with your ClickFunnels and showing them how to do that faster and easier? So that's why, like in my program, I will show people how to, like, if I've been stuck on something, I have tons of trainings on, hey, this took me 3 days to figure out, because I was a person that I didn't have the $20,000 for, to just have somebody do it for me right away. So I had to learn how, and I wanted to know how to do the ins and outs of the business, because I really believe that if you don't know the ins and outs of how things work, you can be taken easy by other people. And also, you may have an idea and think, oh, this is really great, but it's not logical. It's kind of like the difference between engineer and architect, where an architect might think, and I'm not saying that architects do this all the time, but just an example. An architect might say, this will look beautiful and awesome. And this design, I'm going to have this terrace go out all this way, and then have this real thin, aesthetically pleasing pole here. And the engineer's going to say, no, you can't. You can't do that. So you just spend all that time designing something, and it's like, no, you can't. Like, that doesn't work that way. So knowing the ins and outs of your business is super important. So that's why I learned kind of the hard way, and I learned how to do everything. I learned how to do the tech, and I learned how to do all of those things. And there were moments when I hired out because I had to in order to keep it rolling. But for the most part, now I'm at a point now where I can launch, my entire ClickFunnels and stuff like that all by myself, which I think is super exciting and super fun, because when I first did that, it was really intimidating. Okay, and yay, she is on. Good idea. So I need to learn ClickFunnels. That's the platform I use, and that's the platform I teach, but I think I like it. Not everyone does. I do, though. Okay, so let's switch over here. It says that she said that she's on, but I do not see her down below. Next time I do this, though, I think that I will probably have I'll hire someone to be like right next to me. Or I'll have my VA on. I'll be honest, I didn't really think about that. I should have had my VA on so I can tell her, hey, message so-and-so, ask where they're at, where they're having trouble with. So that's a good tip for y'all right now. So I don't have to pause and message and stuff like that. But I do not, she says that she's on though, but I just do not see her on. So, okay, good ideas. Defining the next level. Absolutely, yeah. Yep. 100%. Okay, great, guys. Absolutely. I don't have time to leave it there, though. It's okay. All right. So awesome. Very helpful. Okay, she solved the message. We'll see what she says on that. But that is that's the importance of having kind of the structure of your business, and the value ladder helps a lot with that. And then nurturing people and just sharing. sometimes like I'll still get a spam message or something from somebody, and I'm like, do you want to know how you don't have to do that? Because you don't have to do that. Like, you don't have to spam people. And I know that their heart's in the right place because like they love their products and they want with other people. And whenever you're nurturing people like, that's a big part of it, and they'll start coming to you. Learning how we've talked before about how you can literally, we've talked before about how ask people what they need, and they're going to give to you what it is that they want and that they're having trouble with. Let's see here. Market research just popped in my mind, so we'll talk about that for a moment before we can get Dr. Jones on. And see, she hasn't responded back to me yet, so I'm not sure exactly where she's having trouble on that. I think she may have tried to get onto Zoom. We'll see. Reddit is a really great resource if anyone is familiar with that, because people will post on there. And this is something else, like another way that you can get ideas for how am I going to start this project that I want to do. Reddit is really good because people they even have specific, what is it called? Rants? Rants. I think they classify it as a rant. And they'll be talking about what they have that bothers them or that is discouraging to them. And they will just tell you literally what it is that they're having problems with. So you can go to Reddit, and that's a really great place for market research because you can just read what other people are saying. And they're very transparent on that platform, to the point where some of it's kind of mean and nasty. And that's why I don't like getting on it very much, to be honest with you. But there's like a lot of hate channels and stuff on it, but because there isn't an actual face attached to anything. So it's incredible how just rotten some people will turn whenever they can hide behind an emoji and not have what are those, an little avatar picture. But it is still a really great way that you can find market research. So if you're really lost, but you know that, hey, I know that I'm good at doing X, Y, and Z, but is this something that other people are having a problem with? And you can go to Reddit. Like I was saying with Google, there are other ways that you can also learn how to do that. And all right, guys. So also everybody who is on live, there's 19 people on right now that I see. You are also going to get my free, or well, it's not usually free, but you're also going to get my course that is all about story sharing. That is a huge part of being able to communicate with people and learning how to tell a story in a way that sells at an emotional level, because stories sell, or facts tell, stories sell. And it's just like if you've ever seen anybody who they have blasted that this is on this amount, you have discount, and sorry, she says she's on. It must be some kind of, I may log out and come back in to y'all. We may do that here in a second. I'll finish this thought and I'll do that really fast. And they'll say $9.99 off or whatever it is. And then, like they think that because it's so discounted and you can get this product for less, that's what sells. That's not what sells. So people will validate a purchase based on, okay, yeah, no, that sounded right. I got, this much stuff for that much. And then they will validate a purchase they've already made based off of that kind of stuff. But emotions and triggering those emotions are actually what sells things. So we do that a lot through stories. So everybody who is on here, make sure you're dropping me your name really fast. Make sure if you haven't already dropped your name, drop your name. Or I'm going to close this out and then she says see me, but I don't see her. I'm going to close this out and I'm going to reopen another one. And then we're going to see if we can get her on here. But you can also send me a message and say, hey, like I was on to the very end. I would like that free course, please. So you can send me that message in the group and I'll do that. And then I do see some names, so I will just screenshot them really fast. And then I'm sorry, guys. I'm so sorry for this, but I know you want to be on for the med spa. So it'll be a learning experience for all of us. Jessica, Barbara, great. Melanie. Ecstasy. Savon. Madeline, great. Okay. All right, guys. So if I didn't say your name, if I didn't catch your name, message me. I'm going to close this out and be right back. All right, guys, and we're going to talk med spa. One more time. But no, for sure it's not. It's not connecting her. I don't know why. I don't have this problem yet. Okay, we'll end.